Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Pause Window Cleaning, and today I have a very exciting video that I want to share with you guys. I get this question quite a bit, and it's a fair question to ask, especially when you don't know what it is, and that is, what is this water-fed system? What is the purpose? What does it do? And does it actually benefit you? Now, the basic simple answer to what is a water-fed system is a system filtration system. Well, that's a lot of systems, but yes, it's a filtration system that pretty much, depending on your area, if you have hard water or soft water, it brings it all the way to zero TDS. Now, what is TDS? Is total dissolved solids, and we're gonna kind of break that down into like how your area is like with TDS, like the level of it later in this video, so I can kind of explain better what that is. So anyway, so essentially, the reason why I wanted to kind of make this video is because I want to put yourself into like the customer's point of view, right? Because that's essentially who you're using it for the customer, right? So I get asked a lot when I go give a bid, and they're like, I'm like, oh yeah, I just have this water-fed system that's gonna clean your windows and frames, and they're like, oh, I don't want a pressure washer. And I always reassure them, like, no, it's not a pressure washer. It essentially is a filtration system that goes from, again, depending on your area, hard or soft water, all the way to pure. And what I like to do is kind of like icing on the cake, I guess. It's water gun pressure. It's not going to hurt you or anything. If you put the brush in your hand, it's not going to hurt you like a pressure washer would, right? And so they always have that little peace of mind. Now, like, I guess a kind of a side note, because I like to tell the customer that there is no machine that needs to be used. They ask sometimes if I plug it in, I say no, but that's where an exception does come in. So normally the water-fed system is good for 1 to 2, even pushing 3 stories, and you'll be good with pressure. It'll be lower the higher you go up. At that point, let's say you want to go higher than 3 stories, like let's say 4 or higher, you probably want a booster pump. Now, why would I say you want a pump? Now, the pump, essentially what it does is that at that point will need to be plugged in, and then from there it's going to get the water and then kind of help push more water through the system, right? Or shoot out more water through a system. And it works and is phenomenal. But 9 times out of 10, to be honest, I've had a pump now for the last couple of years. I'll say 2-3 years. I've never used it. So I've always had one just in case, but I haven't used it. So, but again, it depends. I'm not doing 5 stories or higher. So, and also too, it depends on what system you have too, how much water pushes out. But anyways, so that will be the only time where you actually need to plug in something into the outlet so that you can kind of have more water flow through your system. But anyways, so when talking to the customer, I always say, don't worry, I'm not going to blast your windows like a pressure washer would. You're not going to get your windows are not going to break or crack or anything like that. But what it does is that what's awesome is that I put pure water on the windows, and then from there, I don't have to use any soap, any chemicals, nothing. Just put pure water, and then from there, it actually gives a better result. Now, when it comes to like the actual process itself, I have a couple videos on my channel kind of explaining like the process of the techniques that I like to do with the water fed. So I'm not going to really talk about the techniques because I have a couple of videos and I don't want to bore you too much with techniques. But at the same time, what I personally like about this system is that it is a game changer. Especially, again, it depends where you live, but especially when it's like really hot, like in the summertime and everything, it's great. So like, for example, imagine when it's really hot, let's say 100 degrees, you put soap and water on the window on the outside, and then from there you try to pull out your squeegee, and then from there the water kind of already starts to evaporate. You leave marks, and it's just like a pain, because like, let's say when it's like normal weather, maybe 80 or 90 degrees, you can kind of get away with like mopping it, kind of take your time, pull out your squeegee, and then go from there. Like I said, it's the less the degrees is, the easier it is to do. Now, the flip side, if it's below like 32 degrees Fahrenheit, then from there you're like getting like into the area where you can actually freeze your system, which is not good at all. So there's, like I said, a balance of how cold you can get like to use it, but when it comes to heat, you're good. You can be as hot as it wants out, like in the temperature wise outside, you'll be good to go. And again, it benefits in that aspect that when you're trying to clean a window and it's, let's say 100, 110, and you try to squeegee it, it evaporates, and it kind of gets a little annoying because then you have to do the window maybe 2 or 3 times. Also too, what's really good about it is that when you use it for French windows, man, that is like a game changer. French windows, it's like I don't know how to say it. It's you know, like how, so what is a French window? So a French window is pretty much, you have like 3 little small windows. It can be 4 or 5. It can, you know, depending on the size of the window, or if it's like a window that's, the French windows are like completely against the wall. It's pretty much small little windows. And man, imagine doing that in a hot summer day. Like I was saying before, you're going with the squeegee, the mop, and then next thing you know, like you do one window at a time, because if not, it's going to evaporate. With the water fed, you can take care of like a whole row of French windows, not a problem at all. You do have to clean the frame. That's like the biggest difference, because when you do it like traditionally, you just go with your hand, you just do each window, and then you'd have to detail, right, the edges of the window. But with the water fed, you just go and you clean the whole thing, and then from there you rinse off and everything like that, and it will save you a lot of time. Now, again, there are certain jobs that maybe if it's like 1 story, you can just do everything traditionally, and you can go faster than water fed, because you have to set up, you have to do all these different things to prepare for the job, then do the job, and then have to like put everything away. So that kind of can get a little tedious, but essentially, it's a great tool to have. I'll be honest, I pretty much don't even do anything outside anymore traditionally. I do everything with the water fed. It's been a game changer. I've had my fair share of mistakes, I will be honest. I used to have just a DI only system, and I'll kind of go into that again at the end of this video. But I got a DI system in a hard water area, and that is a no good thing to do, because the whole thing is that when you have a DI system in a hard water area, then pretty much you're going to go through your resin really quick, and it gets very expensive, and that was a mistake that I had. But now if I was in a soft water area, that system would be perfect, right? So it depends, like again, on where you live, and yeah, so you have a different system. But yet when you're explaining this to a customer, obviously they don't need to know all that, because you're already prepared and you already have the system. And what's nice is that when I assemble, like I set up everything and I put it in front of their house, they're always like, wow, this is really great, and this is awesome, and they really like it a lot. So essentially, it is like everything you could imagine, and especially too, you don't have to use like a ladder. I don't use pretty much my ladder hardly ever, unless I have to go to the roof or something like that, because I can do a 2-story house, no problem, French, regular, it doesn't matter at all. Now, one thing I would say though, if you are considering getting a water fed system, or you already have one, I would say charge more for the work, even though it's easier for you. Now, why do I say that? Well, yeah, you're pretty much making your life a little bit easier, right, by having the water fed and doing everything, but yet you don't want to then just have the prices the same. Resin and everything costs a lot. Even the machine itself, the pole that you have to get, it's a lot of money. So I would say if you have a system, always raise the price, because it's, I mean, when the customer sees it, they're going to be like, oh yeah, he's definitely professional. I totally understand why you are charging, or I guess us are charging the way we're charging, because we have professional equipment, so then you can charge more. But anyways, so when it comes to water fed, you can do 2-story houses, 3-story, as high as you want, right? Again, if to a certain limit you have to use a pump, but man, it will save you so much time and energy. And now, like I said, I only use water fed. I don't use anything traditionally, and it's been a game changer. Now again, the technique is something that you really have to focus on, obviously too. One important thing, I actually forgot to mention this, is that when you are using your system, depending on which system you have, you essentially want to make sure that the TDS is like below 10. You don't want anything higher than that. Now you could get away with it, but it's not worth it, because you know, like, you want to make sure you do it right the first time. But again, when it comes to water fed, now I'm gonna break down like a 3-stage system, which is a carbon filter, a DI, and an RO system. That one will last longer, and you don't have to change the resin, and you don't have to change the other filters as often as you would with a DI, again, depending on where you live, right? I can't answer it for all you guys, but like I said, I'm going to show you, I have my computer here ready to show you guys a little bit of what I'm talking about. But with the DI, the 3-stage system, that's really cool, because like there's the carbon filter. Now the carbon filter, I would suggest to replace it at least like once a month, and that is not that expensive. What I do is I like to buy maybe like 4 or 5 of them at once. It's like I forgot, I didn't check. I should have checked before the video, but it was like maybe around 15 bucks, if not less, maybe 12. And you change that every month, but yet you don't have to change the other filters every month. That's pretty much a good deal, right? And I'm talking about, I use my water fed 3 to 5 times a week, and I just keep using it, and it's just me using it. So it's not like I have a crew or anything like that using it. But yeah, I use it a lot, and it takes a lot of water. It goes, filterizes everything, and every month I change the carbon filter. Now with the DI, that one by itself, in the part of the 3-stage system, that one I would replace every 6 months. Now the resin itself does have it only has a life cycle of 1 year. Now when I buy my resin, what I like to do is buy it for 2 fills. I have another video that talks about like how to replace and how much you need to replace, but essentially if I'm not mistaken, a quarter of a resin is essentially what's going to be good for 1 fill. And what I like to do is just kind of go half a resin, if that makes sense. And so what the half does is that I have 2 fills with a little extra, but it's nice because I rather just buy everything just at like once. And then from there, I don't have to kind of worry about ordering another one. And like, let's say the resin wasn't good or something like that, I can always, put more resin in it. You kind of want to keep it packed inside the resin. Now the RO are the big tubes. Now I have an X2, which now is the XERO Pure Max. I have 2 tubes, but you can get away with just 1 tube, and I'll kind of explain that in another video. But essentially the 2 tubes, I replace those ones every 4 years. So that one, I think it's a couple $100. It's kind of a little bit pricier, but if you do the math, if you really think about it, and I'm in hard water, so I'm the one that needs the 3-stage system. If you do the math, I think the resin's like $100, something like that, for like, or $80 for like 1 fill, and I think I pay like $150. I have to like double check, but essentially what I do is that, okay, so let's just say in the 6-month period, right, I pay, let's just say $15, right? So 15, 30, 60, 75. So $75, and then let's say the resin is like, let's just say 80. I'm paying $150 in 6 months just to replace the filters and the resin. That's not bad at all. I really think that that's a steal, because what happens is that when I used to have just a DI only system in a hard water environment, that one I would use the resin, 1 whole resin in 1 job, and it cost me $80 to replenish, right, or to refill it. So it's yeah, you lose a lot of money by just having a DI only. So anyways, so the point is that you save a lot of money when you use this system correctly, and that's kind of why I want to show you. I'm going to try my best to make sure that you guys see what I'm going to be seeing on my screen. But I want to show you guys, I have 4 different locations that I kind of want to show you what the TDS is, and kind of break down everything to show like what is, TDS, and kind of just show you like how high it is in certain areas. I just picked the southern area. I have Florida, Texas, I put even Colorado and Pasadena, California, where I'm at, to kind of show you guys what the TDS is. So I tried to record on my computer, and because the microphone's connected to the camera, yet the power of this is connected to the computer in order for this to work, it's a lot of things going on, so it's giving me a lot of errors. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to put screenshots right here so that you can see what I'm doing. Pretty much the screen recording was going to do the same thing. But anyways, let's just get into it. So here we have a classifications here of what TDS is. So TDS is total dissolved solids. And pretty much soft water is between 0 and 200, but if to break it down here, it's 0 to 49 is soft, 50 to 199 is soft to moderate. Now, if you are in this range of 200 and below, you'll be good with just a DI system. That would just be good for soft water. Now, if you go above 200, I would strongly suggest to get the 3-stage system, because let's say you're like at 250 and you're like, well, I want to try to just, save some money, because the DI only is cheaper than a 3-stage, because the 3-stage has a DI and an RO and a carbon filter, right? Like we already explained. So essentially, if you try to go to 250, which is the DI, technically you can do it. You can even do hard water if you really wanted to. But the problem that I had was I didn't know all this information. So I was running my DI system in hard water and my resin was going out at every job. So again, the higher the TDS, the faster the resin's going to go through. So if you go to 250, you're pretty much going to be changing it more frequently. If you had something like below 200, then not as much, right? So, and then from there, I know it says 150, but let's just say from 200 to 350 will be moderate to hard. And then I guess 300 and above will be to 500, but it can even go higher than that, will be very hard. So essentially, if you have the 200 below, get a DI system. If you have anything above 200, get a 3-stage system because it has a DI in the 3-stage system, so you don't have to worry about not having the DI, right? But I would say that for sure, if you just want to be safe than sorry and you want to, even with soft water, you want to just have a 3-stage system, you'll be good to go with that. You never have to worry so much about your location. You can just get a 3-stage and you're good to go. Like for me in Pasadena, I have hard water and the 3-stage is the way to go. Yeah, you won't regret it at all. But now if you do the 3-stage on soft water, your resin and everything will last longer. So again, there's another benefit for you. So let me take a quick screenshot for you guys here. And then, I mean, you're already seeing it on screen. All right, so now I have 4 different locations here that I kind of wanted to go over with you guys. We have here Miami, Florida, San Antonio, Texas, Denver, Colorado, and Pasadena, California, of course, to kind of show the different TDS in this area. So let's go to the first one. Let's go to Florida. Let's type in the zip code. Now, these zip codes were totally random. I didn't really pick the ones like in that area because I'm not familiar. So what I did was put like the best zip code in this area. So like for Miami, 33431. And if you're from this area, let me know if that's a good neighborhood. I don't know. But anyway, so 4331. Let's take a snapshot for you guys so that you guys can kind of see what I'm looking at. All right. So the TDS there would be 141, and I'm going to change it to 35 hours. Actually, I should probably do it like now because it doesn't work. That's why I was saying it's better to record so you can see what I'm doing. But anyway, so if you were to work, like I said, I work between 3 to 5 days a week. I don't work on the weekends, and I don't work on holidays, especially when it's raining. I don't work those days either. You know, you have to take a break, so that's why I don't work on holidays, before I forget mentioning that. So anyways, so if you were to look at this chart, right? So their TDS would be 141. Now, if you were to do a DI only, the cost would be $26.37 an hour, right? So to replace the resin would be $80, $85, I think it is. So, and I'll put everything in the description down below if you wanted to check anything out. And if you use those links, it will help us out very much, just letting you guys know. So if you were to do a DI only, cost would be $26.37. And keeping that in mind, after 4 hours, more or less, 3.5, 4 hours, you pretty much ran through your whole resin. So would that be a whole job of a house on the outside? Yeah, sure. But at the same time, you just blew, you know, $80 just on doing that. Now, if you had a multi-stage filter, it would be 30 cents an hour. Wow, 30 cents an hour, right? So 30 cents an hour would pretty much, you know, you can go, like I said, if you do my way of doing it, carbon filter every month. And also it keeps your system healthy too. You know, you don't want to like, you know, overdo it and stress it out and then from there it stops working, right? And then you have other problems. So you would want to change your carbon once a month. Then the DI, you want to change it every 6 months. And then the RO, you want to change it every couple of years, 4 years or something like that. But again, I think I forgot to mention this, that when you do get a system, it comes with a little TDS little thing. And what you do is like when you filter the water, you let it go inside a little cup and then you kind of measure your system. I think I have a video about it, kind of showing you how to check your TDS. But essentially that will show you kind of more or less when to change your resin. So it doesn't have to be like exactly a month, every 6 months, but you can kind of be like, yeah, I think it's time to change this, right? The only thing I really want to focus on, the TDS is 141.8 in Miami, Florida. So you can kind of get away with using a DI system only, but again, you know, $26 an hour. So anyways, that's just Miami. So now let's go to San Antonio, Texas. So let me put now Texas. Let me get to Texas right here. Perfect. And then I put again best zip codes in Texas in San Antonio, 231. and then right there, boom. So we have now a different scenario, right? So here, let me take a quick screenshot for you guys right there. So essentially what this is that we have here Texas 78231. The TDS there is 253. So remember I said earlier, like if you're at 250, you know, you kind of don't want to really chance having a DI only system. But again, I would suggest getting a 3-stage system. It'll save you a lot of money. In this case, it can be a perfect example. So like I said, we're working 35 hours a week. So the DI only will cost $47.06. So essentially 2 hours and you go through your resin, which is very true. Like I said, in my case, I would just use one filter for one job. So I pretty much use my DI only for the second level. So I wish I would have had a 3-stage system at that point. But then here we go again. The multi-stage filter cost is only 50 cents. So, I mean, it says it'll pay yourself in 1 week, but again, it all depends on the price. So essentially, you can do the math on that. You save a lot of money, right? Okay, so now let's go to another one. Let's go to Colorado. And then from there, let's put Denver, Colorado, 80111. So here we go. So let me take a quick snapshot for you guys so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay. So here in Colorado, it's the TDS is 148. So there you definitely can just use soft water system like the DI, 35 hours a week. So then you have the $27.53 an hour. And then the multi-stage would be 31 cents an hour. So essentially, like I said, if you want to, you know, use the DI only, you can. If you use the multi-stage, it will last longer, and apparently it will pay itself in 2 weeks. So that's pretty cool. All right, so now let's go to California. All right, so now let's go 91101. Okay, there you go. So that's pretty high. So we have here the zip code here in Pasadena, California. So this one is actually the zip code of where our city hall is at. So that's why I picked that zip code. Now your TDS would be 376, which I totally agree with. That's very high. So that one I would have to use the multi-stage system, right? So now look at the price, $70 an hour. So in 1 hour, I have to replace the resin. Can you believe that? 1 hour, like an hour and like 5 minutes or something like that. You know, it's going to be used all up and I would have to replace the resin. So like I said, I would just use the resin in 1 day, but in reality, I should have changed it multiple times in one job. So, but now with the multi-stage filter, it was only 72 cents an hour. And like I said, I hardly ever replace my resin and filters as often as, you know, every hour, I guess. So, but yeah, I would say definitely I got my money back within a couple weeks, you know, working 35 hours, you know, it could have been actually maybe a week, I don't know, but it depends on the job and how much you price. But anyways, I don't think I took a snapshot of this. Let's make sure I take a picture of that. So essentially, now we're back into the beginning of things. So the multi-stage system, the DI, are phenomenal tools to have. It's not going to solve all your problems because let's say you want to do inside windows, you still have to do that traditionally. But hopefully this video helped a lot. I mean, if you have any other questions that I kind of didn't go over, I try my best to try to condense everything in just to one video. And try to help you guys out a lot because again, I didn't have this information when I first started, so I'm trying to like take you step by step, you know, trying to make this as simple as possible, not trying to make this crazy to understand. But of course, if you ever want to buy a system through me, I will have links of my favorite tools and all that in the description down below. But yeah, if you do buy a system through me, I will be more than happy to help you out with the system, how to, you know, use techniques, if any troubleshooting that you might have. I'll love to help you out with that and kind of be like your personal guide. So, but yeah, what I suggest getting a water-fed system. If you're really serious into into window cleaning, I would say 100% get into water-fed. It's a game changer. But again, it's not for every single location. Why do I say that? I guess this will kind of be like the conclusion and when not to use water-fed. So when it comes to water fed, when not to use it, I would say don't use it for construction cleans. I had my fair share of doing that. Like when I first started with the DI system, I would use the water fed on a construction clean, thinking that it would clean it. Didn't, so then I had to do everything by hand. So that was kind of like a little annoying, because I was like, man, I just did all this work and that it didn't work out, so I had to do everything all over again. But of course, what's most important is that the customer was happy, right? So we were able to even get more jobs based on, you know, that job that I did and with that mistake. But the point is that that's when you don't want to use it, is commercial, because a lot of times there's stickers on the windows and there's, like, you know, stuff from construction that might be on the window, so you have to, you know, use a razor sometimes, even spray paint too, you have to use a razor. But so like the water fed doesn't remove all that stuff, right? So it only removes pretty much organic things, come from nature, nothing that's like spray paint and all that stuff. Another time too is I mean, this is kind of like a 50-50, but I would say be very careful to not use it on doors that are painted. Now, why do I say doors that are painted? Well, when I first started using the water fed, I did a friend of mine's house, and what ended up happening was he had like a door that didn't have any windows, but above it they had like windows on top. So what I ended up doing was cleaning that upper window, you know, just doing my job, and it worked out perfectly. But when the water came down from the upper part into the door itself, it actually started like leaving spots on the door. So I don't know, maybe you guys know more than me, but it didn't look good because the door was blue, and then they would have spots where it's kind of faded because of the water. And so just be a little bit careful with doors, especially. Now, if it's a sliding door, 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, you'll be good. But what I like to do is just do doors by hand, so just to be safe. And then and then I guess another point would be to also be careful, like because here in Pasadena we have a lot of older windows. There's sometimes it's like double hung, so it might like kind of you know, slide up and down. But sometimes the spring or whatever that's holding the window up kind of goes down. So when you're cleaning the frame, you don't want to go all the way to the top because water will seep in. Now, if a few drops go in, you know, no one has ever complained about that. But you just kind of want to be careful that you don't want to put the less amount of water, I guess the best way to put it, less amount of water that goes inside the house, the better, obviously. But yeah, normally what I'll do is when I clean those windows that have maybe like a little bit of a gap, I just kind of stop with the window itself. I don't clean the upper part of the frame. So that's kind of like a little bit of a tip, I guess. A little trick. I was going to say trick tip, but that helps a lot. But yeah, you just want to be careful for that. And I guess the biggest one you also want to take care of is also when it comes to doors too. There might be a little bit of a gap in the bottom. So there might be, like, when you're cleaning, water might try to get in there and it might flood the inside of the house, which you don't want to do. But yeah, essentially, like with all these little things in mind, you'll learn like over time. But if there's a window that's kind of hard to get to, even with like a ladder, and it's just better just to do a water fed, what I like to do sometimes is just maybe for that specific window, just put towels on the inside, you know, on the inside, just because I have my wife with me, so it's kind of easy, like just to have her watch while I clean. But let's say I'm just thinking, like, if you're like a solo operator, when you're cleaning the window, just kind of put something in the bottom on the inside so that if water does seep in, you're good to go. Sometimes it's still dry when you go inside, sometimes it's not, but you'd rather be safe than sorry, not have windows go in. I guess I'll give you an example that I went to this house and they had French windows, and it was just a regular window that opened. It was not like a double hung, but it just kind of opened. So I guess when I was cleaning it, there was a little gap in the bottom, even though I've done her windows before, which was kind of funny, and I used the water fed and there was no problem. But I haven't done her windows in, like, I think 2 years. And what ended up happening was I thought in my head, oh, this is fine. When I would start cleaning it, she called me and she's like, oh, Andy, it's leaking water. And I was like, what? That's crazy. So I ended up having to do it by hand, which is not a problem at all. But it was just weird that, like, a house like that I've already done started seeping in. But if you haven't done a house, I would say just do a spot test, maybe like in the front windows, you know, if you don't feel comfortable, because over time you'll know which windows you're good to go. But sometimes if you're not comfortable, like double hungs, you're like, you know what, let me just do this one window and then kind of put like little towels and kind of clean it up, wash it on the outside, and then just see afterwards how it was. And then you can clean up, obviously, if there's a little bit of water. So I guess that's a little tip, right, for when it comes to the water fed. And then I guess the last point is, now I'm thinking while I'm talking, the last point is I would say that, so if you have, like I have the RO, the 2 RO membranes, it's very, very, very heavy. So that one, I think it's like 100 pounds. And then like the other one that's just 1 RO, we're talking about multi-stage, that one is like, I think like 75 pounds. And then the DI is like, I think 30 pounds. So it's like you go from 100 to 75 to 30. So you can kind of imagine, you know, how much weight there is. But keeping that in mind, the weight does actually have a added benefit. So why do I say that? So the DI, obviously, we kind of know that's just good for soft water, so it's very light and very movable. Now, when it comes to the RO membranes, having one is great for just one person, right? If you're by yourself, a solo person, I would say that would be an awesome system to have. I would suggest that should be like everyone's go-to. But what I have is I have the 2 RO membranes. It's the X2, but now it's called the Pure Max. So the difference is that it's just pretty much more water flow going through. So with the single RO, I think it produces like half a gallon a minute, and then mine is the double RO that produces like a gallon a minute. So essentially, what does that mean? Pretty much, I can go a little bit higher and be able to have a consistent flow rather than just the single membrane of the RO, because, well, because if you go in a higher level, then you would have to use a pump. So for me, when I was choosing my system, I ended up saying, you know what, I wanted to like have less, how do I say, I didn't want to use a pump as often as I needed. So I kind of just said, you know what, let's just get the double membrane of the RO and just kind of use that, and then I don't have to worry about a pump. And like I said, I never have to use a pump. But again, I've had it now for 2 years. Do I regret it? Absolutely not. But I would say it is kind of heavy. Just to take it off the truck and put it back on, that's kind of like the only time that I have to worry about. But it has like wheels on it, so it's easy to transport. So that's the only thing. Also the price too, right? Because you're having 2 RO membranes. But that's going to be in another video, kind of breaking down like which system you should get if you were considering buying one. But yeah, I think that's kind of it when it comes to the whole system itself. Like I said, I have videos about like kind of showing you how to water fed, right? Now you already have the system, what you really want. But again, it's just a tool. You can't use this for every single job, right? Like I said, there might be some windows that you can't clean with the water fed, right? Like construction cleans, for example, or first time cleans too, depending on the windows too. But yeah, it just depends all on what's best for you. Hopefully this TDS thing kind of helped you guys a little bit. I just really wish that this information really benefited you. And if it did, don't forget to leave a like. It really helps this channel out a lot. And if you have any comments, ask me questions about the water fed, no problem. And again, if you buy a system through me, I will be more than happy to help you with any troubleshooting. I'll be your personal guide and all that when it comes to using the water fed if you have any problems with it. But ultimately, I would say this, it's a game changer. I don't regret it one bit. I wish that I would have bought it sooner, because you start to advertise it to your clients. Hey, this is my system. Wow, this is a lot. Like look at this system. I remember when I first used it, I went to my first job and the guy was like, it looks like something from NASA. He was pretty funny. It looked like a rocket ship, he said. So that was kind of nice of him. But yeah, ever since then, I've been using it, never had a problem. And yeah, I just hope that this video really benefited you guys a lot. So anyways, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I guess we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.